Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to Syriana Analysis. I'm your host, Kevork Almassian. Before I start this video, I want to make a disclaimer. On this channel, I don't support any prescribed organization in the EU or in Germany. I analyze the geopolitical conflicts for political enthusiasts who are eager to listen to different opinions. Now, let's get into today's topic. In 2003, shortly after the US invasion of Iraq, then Secretary of State Colin Powell marched into Damascus with a list of demands: expel Palestinian factions, severe support for Hezbollah, and break Syria's strategic alliance with Iran. Bashar al-Assad didn't just refuse, he doubled down. Syria accelerated arms shipments to Hezbollah, including Cornet rockets and Chinese-made missiles, many of which eventually reached Palestinian factions in the Gaza Strip. This support proved pivotal in 2006 when Hezbollah forced Israeli occupation forces to withdraw from southern Lebanon, shattering Washington's new Middle East project envisioned by Condoleezza Rice. But the US and its regional allies weren't done. In 2011, the CIA and partner intelligence agencies engineered a bloody insurgency in Syria, waging a 14-year regime change war. Let's be clear, this was never about democracy or human rights. It was about reshaping Syria's geopolitical stance, eliminating its resistance axis and turning it into another compliant Arab state. Here is where the story takes a grotesque turn. Hamas, which had long benefited from Syrian support, stabbed Damascus in the back in 2012. Hamas not only endorsed the US-backed insurgency, but also actively joined it. They formed a military unit in the Yarmouk camp in Damascus, fighting alongside the al-Nusra Front led by Abu Muhammad al-Julani. They raised the so-called Syrian Revolution flag in Gaza, alongside banners of Erdogan and Qatar's emirs, declaring, quote, "Jerusalem is waiting for the men." Those men, being Erdogan and the al-Thani, are hardly champions of Palestine. More recently, Khaled Mishal even proclaimed that the liberation of Syria from Assad heralds the liberation of Gaza and Jerusalem. Think about that for a second. Every serious geopolitical observer knew that if Syria fell to a US-backed al-Qaeda-linked regime, Damascus would go the path of Egypt, Jordan, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia, normalizing ties with Israel and abandoning Palestine entirely. So why would Hamas support this? Either Mishal is geopolitically illiterate, which is unlikely, or he is playing a different game. Fast forward to today. US congressmen recently met with Abu Muhammad al-Julani in Damascus, the al-Nusra Front leader now rebranded as Syria's moderate ruler, and came away with stunning news. Julani is willing to normalize with Israel under the Abraham Accords.
Well, I'm not going to get into the exact points of what the president and I shared. I'll leave that up to the president himself. But what I would say is that from his message, he's looking for a very strong, a very free, and a very prosperous Syria. He's looking for being able to protect all who are Syrian. And so I think that he's demonstrated through his words that he does have good intent. How that actually goes into real focus and how that's put into action, we'll wait. But we're going to keep an open dialogue, and we're going to keep looking at how do we support a strong Syria and a strong Middle East. Well, you know, we're not here to try and go ahead and validate Syrian leadership. That is up to the Syrian people. And at the end of the day, what we wanted to learn is what was the strategy? What does a free, democratically elected Syria look like? What is the inclusive nature of that? How will they establish relationships with the countries in which they border? What will they do with the freedom fighters and the foreign fighters who've come in and have been here for 6, 7, 8 years? And so it's really to get a better understanding of the leadership and what their strategy is and how they see the new vision of prosperity and freedom and happiness, as well as for stability for Syria, which does cascade over to the rest of the region.
Are you shocked? Not if you have been paying attention. The Trump administration has already laid out 8 conditions for easing sanctions on Julani's regime, including allowing US military operations on Syrian soil under the guise of counterterrorism, banning all Palestinian factions in Syria and deporting their members to appease Israel. 3. Publicly endorsing the US-led Operation Inherent Resolve against ISIS. And 4. destroying chemical weapons stockpiles, which is a recycled pretext from the 2013 playbook, and finally helping locate Austin Tice, the missing US journalist and former Marine, which is a PR move to legitimize the Julani regime. This is the real US strategy. Install a pliable Al-Qaeda-linked regime that will kneel before Washington and Tel Aviv. And my proof? A few days after the US sent these demands, Julani's general security in Damascus arrested both Khalid, the head of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad movement in Syria, and Abu Ali Yasser, the head of the Syrian Arena's organizational committee in the capital of Damascus. This comes after the list of US conditions delivered by Natasha Franceschi, US Assistant Secretary of State to Minister of Foreign Affairs Asad al-Shibani, which included a clear request to expel Palestinian leaders from Syria. If you support the Palestinian armed struggle, you must confront an uncomfortable reality. Hamas didn't just betray Syria, they betrayed their own cause. By aiding a US-backed insurgency, they helped dismantle one of the last Arab states that supported them. Now the same forces that destroyed Syria are positioning Julani as the next moderate Arab leader ready to shake hands with Netanyahu and Hamas. They're left holding Erdogan and Qatar's empty slogans. I've been your host, Kevork Almassian of Syriana Analysis. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We are fewer than 1,400 subscriptions away from hitting the 100K goal. Peace be upon you, upon your families. Salam.